So Mackenzie, let's talk about your business and kind of the journey. So 252 Boutique.
Yep.
That's been open now for how many years?
2.5 about. We opened August of 2014.
And where is it located?
We're in University Heights in the square, so it's just off of McCormick Drive.
Okay, and for those of us watching in TV land and here that shop a lot, what is a boutique?
Well, we're privately owned.
Okay.
To start.
Is that what a boutique means? Is this privately owned?
Well, usually a boutique carries items that you're not going to find at, let's say, the mall. Okay. So in a mall store, we usually carry a little more unique items and a broad spectrum. I carry everything from shoes, jeans and t-shirts to formal gowns. We fit mother of the bride. You can get your handbag and your jewelry and everything. So we're kind of a one-stop shop.
Do you have toupees?
We do not have toupees currently.
Then I guess I won't be shopping. This is actually the best toupee I've picked up in a while.
Yeah.
So 252 Boutique, you've won a number of SaveX awards. What awards did you win last year?
Last year we won New Business Venture and Customer Service.
That's incredible. Congratulations. And I remember watching you guys win, and you kept winning, and your dad was so excited, and I remember him jumping up and cheering, and I remember thinking, I hope he's not wearing corduroy, because that would catch fire quick. He was so animated, which was awesome. So where did you get the name 252?
My mom's birthday was February 25th, 1952, and she passed away 4 years ago, so I wanted to have a name that was in honor of her, but that was kind of a little different. So I sat down and did a lot of brainstorming and had written out her birthday, and this 252 kind of kept coming up, and I grew up in Kenniston, so just south of Saskatoon, and our phone exchange is 252. Okay. Yeah, so it kind of was a cool thing, and then I thought 252 sounded a little different, a little cool, and I phoned my dad up and asked him, what do you think of 252?
He just said, yeah, that's great!
He actually was like, what the heck are you talking about? And I'm like, for the name. And he said, oh yeah, that sounds really good. And we kind of rolled it around a few friends and family, and they said, it's really cool. And it's actually written out. So it's a number, but it's actually spelled out. So it's kind of cool.
So how did you get into this boutique idea? Like, what sparked that?
Well, I wanted to be a personal shopper,
okay,
but we live in Saskatoon, so I don't know who's going to pay me to shop for them. You would? Okay, we can do that.
We should actually get some names for you.
Yeah, we should. We'll have a list at the end.
I'm looking at a couple of these guys, and they need your help.
They need my help. So I was a sales rep actually for Hershey Chocolate. So I sold chocolate bars, which was really fun. But I kind of had that itch, I guess, to do my own thing. And then, like I said, when my mom passed away, it was that catalyst of life's too short, I should be doing something I love. And I traveled a lot. My sister lives in LA, so I'd go visit her. We'd go to New York or somewhere, and part of our experience was shopping. So we always looked for new brands and new items that we liked. And I'd come home and go out for dinner, one of my groups that I belong to, and get asked.
Just one of the groups.
One of the groups. I have 2 splurge groups and a dinner club. I keep busy with that. But people would always ask, I love your jacket, or I love your boots, where did you get them? And I'd say, oh, I got it in New York or LA or whatever it was. And they'd be like, how come nobody here sells that stuff? Like, we can't buy that here, we want to buy it. And I kind of had that, like, oh, why can't I do this? Yeah.
So going back to that catalyst moment, because we've all been in situations or had moments where we've thought, is this really what life is supposed to be? And obviously, sometimes, unfortunately, that's a major tragic event. Yeah. So looking back at that situation, was it like an easy decision, or like what the catalyst was? Okay, look, am I happy? What am I doing? Like, how did it turn from what am I doing to boutique?
Well, it was kind of accidental, actually. I say accidentally on purpose, because I had that thought of like, okay, I should open a store and bring in these brands and sell stuff that nobody's selling and sell lots of different sizes. I feel like we're women, doesn't matter if you wear an extra small or an extra large, we all want to look good. So have kind of a place that every woman in the city could go, and a large age group, right? I didn't want to just be for, I'm in my 30s, so only 30-year-olds can shop here. So I made my business plan. So I was working my full-time job. I'd go home after work on my business plan, cold call. I just phoned companies and was like, hey, I'd like to carry your brand. And they're like, who are you? Where, Saska what? Like, they had no clue where we were. So I started doing my business plan, and I do have a commerce degree, so I went to the U of S here. So started doing my business plan, and I thought, I'm a woman, I'm in my early 30s, like, surely to goodness there's some government grants I can get. So I went on the federal government website, and they direct you to another website where you can go through and answer all these questions, and then they'll let you know what grants you can apply for. So I was like, this is perfect. So I put all my information in there that they asked, and it wasn't a very long, like maybe 2 pages that I had to answer, and then I clicked submit, thinking they're going to say, you are eligible for these 4 grants, you should apply for these. But in reality, that was the application. Okay. So I got a statement saying you have 60 days to send in your business plan. And I hadn't started my business plan at this time. So I had that, oh crap. So that's when I started working on it, and then realized I need a plate. Like, where am I going to be located? Started meeting with realtors, and in that 60 days, I had my business plan done, my financing in place, my location, and I got $0 in government grants.
So that was actually going to be my next process. So, like, did you, like, obviously you started with a storefront. Like, you didn't just kind of start bringing in a bit of stuff and selling it. You full on went in. So
Yep.
how did you get the financing to do that? Like, how did all of that work out? And that must have been a huge risk, right? Like, not only is it the first time you're jumping into owning a business, it's also the first time you're getting capital investments, you're doing all of that stuff. So
Exactly.
Walk us through that process.
Well, the first thing is I had to quit my job that I was making. I know how much money I was going to make to something that you have no clue. And I mean, I did pretty well. With Hershey, I was one of the top salespeople. So I was doing okay. So then you decide you have to quit your job, and you have to look for financing, and you have to. So I stayed working for about 6 months just to make sure I had a little nest egg. But I actually had a friend whose husband works for Business Development Canada. Okay. So I met with them, and of course they wanted to see my business plan, and I got my financing through them. So you do have to put some of your own finances in as well. And I did have some money saved, some from my mom too. So I had some of my own, and then through business development. So yeah.
Has that been, like, the first 2 years, and we'll talk more about it, but just because we're talking about it now, has the financial part been as terrible as it sometimes seems with new businesses, or has that been kind of one of the easier parts for you, or like, what's the biggest stress you're dealing with right now? Is it the finances, or is it the bringing in new products? Is it the staff? I
would say I'm very lucky. I have amazing staff. I have 4 part-time staff members. If you come to my store, the likelihood you'll see me is like 98%, but obviously, like, right now I'm not there. But I'm there as much as I can be. Before Christmas, I think I did 79 days in a row without a day of not going in. So, but when you have your own business, it's not work. I enjoy doing it. So it was nice to get away after that. But finances are tricky because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? So I might have a great day at the store, and I'm like, oh, I can put money on this credit card, or I can put it to my GST payment, or whatever it happens to be, and then tomorrow can suck, right? So there's really no guarantees in it. So the financial part is, I think, going to be tricky for a while until I can kind of figure out my kind of next area, which I am always trying to figure out is inventory. Because once I buy an item, it's mine. So I have to figure out, how many dresses do I need? How many pairs of jeans do I need? How many t-shirts do I need? What sizes do I need? What colors do I need? Do I take a risk on this item, or do I play with the safe items? And that's hard, because if you have too much inventory, then your money's just sitting in your store. If you don't have enough, then people come in, they're looking for a dress, and they're like, oh, she doesn't have very many items, and they leave without buying anything. So those two, and they correlate, right? So those two are definitely my biggest struggles. And just when I think I have it figured out, then something happens and I have to start all over again.
So, I mean, you're talking 79 days without a break. You're still human. So how did that affect you? And I mean, obviously, like you said, this is a passion. Like, you love working there. But you're still working without a break. So, like, have you been able to balance that? And how did you walk through that? Is that different now? Are you still working that kind of length?
It is tricky because, like you say, you still have to have a life. I'm not married, I don't have kids, so I don't have that aspect.
Thank God. They're the worst.
But like I said, I have the fear of missing out, so I go to lots of things, and I'm very social, and I love events. I was just at Swinging with the Stars, like, so fun. I love that stuff. I'm still in my dinner club and my 2 splurge groups, so I guess that's my outlet. I might just leave the store and go directly to dinner club, but then I see 6 of my girlfriends, and we have a drink, and we have some good food, and it just kind of balances itself out. And I mean, when I'm doing my GST at the store, like, that sucks. I don't want to be doing that. But when I'm helping someone find a dress for an event, and they're excited, and then I get excited, and like they leave, it's like you get that like euphoric feeling. Yeah, of course. So I think that it's not like I'm sitting in an office by myself all day for 79 days. And then I actually went to Mexico for a week, so I did nothing but lay at the pool. Yeah. And that recharged, right? And then I'm back at it.
So would you say you're extroverted?
I would say I'm probably extroverted.
Which is, I mean, that's a good business to be in, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So is your 252 boutique, is it, like you said, you didn't want it to be specific in terms of, like, you have to be 30 to shop here, right? But is it, like, is there male and female options, or you focus mostly on the female clothing lines? Like, give us a bit more of that stuff.
Yeah, currently we just have women's clothing. I have people ask me every day for men's. So it's an opportunity I'm looking into. I'm not saying it will happen, but it likely will happen.
So you said you grew up in Kiniston.
Yep.
Was your family entrepreneurial? Like, how? Like, give us a picture of how, like, the house you grew up in. Like, and how did that spawn you to get into a commerce degree, and then obviously now 252?
Yeah, definitely they were entrepreneurs. Mainly my dad was a farmer, but when I was about 10 or 11, he became a consultant, which I don't think I knew what that was then. But he did everything from politics to business and kind of helped people. I think he always had those ideas in his head. He started Keniston Superdraft, which is a hockey pool. And so a lot of things like that, right? He sold satellite dishes. I'm talking like the big, like giant.
The big ones in the backyards?
The giant ones in like 1984.
Anybody that listened to the Humpty Dance knows what those things were in the backyard.
Yeah, and if there was any snow, you had to go like slap it off. So he sold those in the 80s. I mean, nobody, like, we lived on a farm. Who had a satellite dish? So he was very innovative and kind of always looking for things that he could branch out and have as a business. My sister owns 2 medical clinics in California, so she's an entrepreneur. My brother's now taken over our family farm and expanded. I think they have like 7,000 acres now, so he's really gone into that. So yeah, I really had that family that was kind of go-getters, and my mom was always one of those, like, oh, I don't feel like going or doing it, and she'd just say, like, get up and get doing it, and you'll feel better. You know, you'll feel like doing it when you do it. And I grew up in that community where it was, you know, you helped each other out, and you really, like, I think my brain was always going, even as a little kid. I sold keychains at the confectionery when I was like in grade 5, so I think that's where it started. So,
I mean, then that kind of gives a bit of a picture then when you had this catalyst moment, which was an unfortunate one. But was that the first time you had ever thought about it? Like, that, I'm always interested in those. Like, we always hear there was this catalyst moment, and I decided I'm not happy doing what I'm doing. But not that you weren't happy or not, but was it always something in the back of your head that you thought, oh, I would love to do something more, I'd like to work for my own, and then that moment kind of
Triggered it?
Or was it that moment that thought, you know what, I should really reevaluate? Like, was this something always in the back of your head, you thought?
I think it was always there, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. When I was just kind of my last year of university in there, my friend was an esthetician. She's like, we should open a spa. And like, we were like, oh, we're going to open this spa. And we had all these grand ideas, but like, I knew nothing about a spa. So it kind of, you have that idea and you're 20, so it kind of goes away. And then when I worked at Sasktel, I enjoyed that job, and I was part-time evenings and weekends, like that got old. I needed to look for a new job, but still I was 24. Like, what the heck was I going to open a business? I didn't know anything. And then when I worked for Hershey, which was fun, I sold chocolate bars and I drove around in the Hershey mobile, we called it. It was a good time, and that's a fun atmosphere. But I think I was having those moments of like 1 year I sold like $2 million in chocolate. And like
how much chocolate is $2 million? Is that like the Oompa Loompa River?
Well, I was lucky because I did corporate, so Walmart, Superstore, all the big guns. But it was like, people were like, oh, good job. And not that I expected, like, oh, wow, you did amazing, but like nothing changed from my life. I didn't get some big raise, and I didn't get, like, I did win a few awards, but it wasn't that exciting because I was working for someone else. So I think I always had that in me of like, I should do something on my own, but I didn't know what that was.
Well, being at the SABEX last year, it was an interesting perspective for me because you're announcing the winners, and most of them are like, ha, great, and they walk up. And I still have this vivid memory of your dad jumping. Like, he was so pumped. And I remember actually thinking, like, I would like to meet Mackenzie because if her dad's that passionate and so supportive, I wonder what she's like, and I wonder how that translates to her employees and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're a passionate person that really cares and is involved. Would you say you are? Now
Definitely.
I feel like I'm a cop.
Are you?
Are you? Because you just said you were in front of cameras.
Well, I think that's part of why we've been able to succeed and do well is because I'm passionate, my staff's passionate, and small things when people come in the store and we're like, hey, how's it going today? We're not like pushy and like, what are you looking for? What can we sell you, right? It's more of that like friendly dynamic. But yeah, definitely it is my passion, and I don't think I realized, I knew I loved shopping and loved clothes and fashion. I don't think I actually realized how much I loved it. And when you're you've helped a mom pick out her dress for her son's wedding or something, you feel really good. You feel they leave, they're crying and you're crying and they're excited and you're excited, and
I can honestly say I've never had that experience shopping. These jeans fit so good. Never happened.
It actually, you would be shocked at how often it happens.
That speaks volumes of you. And you're nominated for a SABEX again this year, right? So
yeah,
what awards are you nominated for this year?
We're nominated again for customer service because
awesome.
We make you cry.
Yeah, exactly.
And also for community involvement this year, which is really exciting for me. I'm really proud of customer service, but I think because I grew up in a small town and community was so important, I try every other month or so to do a community initiative. Right now we're collecting money for Heart and Stroke because February's Heart Month, and my mom, that's what she passed from. So it's really important to me, and more women die of heart disease than all the cancers put together. So come and donate.
And can they just donate? Can they just come to 252 Boutique and donate?
They don't have to buy anything. They can just give me some money for Heart and Stroke, and I'll
You know
pass
what?
it along.
Honestly, if anybody but you wins that community service, they shouldn't have.
I agree.
But in fairness, because I'm the MC, I'm going to be happy for them.
Thank you.
But you
Jump
should
up
win.
and down and
you should
scream
win.
and yell.
Totally, you should win. Everybody else, get nuts. If Potash Corp wins another one, I'm just kidding. They do so much for the community. I'm just teasing. I'm teasing emailers, emailing Shaw. But Potash does great stuff. Of course they do.
They do.
They're
you know
a great
what?
company.
Everyone in there is very valid and deserves to win, although we deserve to win a lot as well.
Totally. So, looking back at your business, you talked a bit about the turns of your inventory. That's always whenever there's a business that has capital investment into something, that's always a stress. But looking back over the last 2 years, what would you say is one of the biggest stressors that you've faced? And you know what? Actually, let's open it up, because it might not be in the last 2 years. What has been some of the biggest stressors that really shaped you, and how have you kind of overcome that, and how has that affected the further direction?
Well, I mean, definitely inventory and finances. I think everyone can relate to that, even in your personal life, right? It's like, oh God, my credit card bill came and you don't want to open it. So that for me is big, because I need the finances. Like now for our spring items, I need the money to bring me spring things in, right? And I think over time, when I become more experienced in that, that'll definitely improve. And I'm not afraid to ask for help. I phone other business owners that are friends, and I'm like, how on earth did you do this? Or what should I do for this? Or have you ever tried that? And I think just asking, I don't think it's a weakness. I think it's a strength to be able to say, hey, like, give me a hand. You have experience. Like, you know, give me some advice and give me a hand. So.
And do you, like, in terms of, like, Saskatchewan people for the most part are very generous with that kind of a relationship. And as a business owner, you're obviously calling other businesses. Do you feel like they've all been super open and willing to help you? Like, has that been? Well,
I call people I know.
Yeah, that's you're not cold
hey,
calling.
What's happening?
Hey,
can you help me
looking
out?
for some financial advice.
And I've built a lot. I knew quite a few people before, but now I've built a lot of relationships, you know, by coming to these events. You see the same people, you have a little visit, or someone else is a SABEX winner, and I'm like, okay, like they know what they're doing as well, so I'll ask them. I've never had anybody say like, oh, sorry, go get help somewhere else. But no, I feel like, I mean, it's our province, right? If I didn't think somebody was going to help me, I wouldn't ask them. But I've only gotten positive feedback and help. And I've had people that have been in business for like 15 years ask me, and I'm kind of like, like, I don't really know what I'm talking about quite yet. But they're like, oh, you're fresh, you're new. Like, what do you think about this? And we kind of go back and forth, and it's been good. It's definitely helped me for sure.
So has the business, from your perspective, obviously you started just over 2 years ago. You got your storefront. Have you seen spikes, or has it been pretty consistent growth, or has there been plateaus? Like, how have you been managing that stuff? And is that part of the business plan? Like, has your business gone according to your business plan?
The first year we did a little bit better than our expected, which was surprising, and good surprising, right? But then the second year now, we saw a little dip in our economy, right? And I mean, we're a mid to higher end store, so maybe people aren't spending as much. The end of the year, we're still ahead of our first year, so that's good. The first year's hard because I have nothing to go back on, right? I'm like, oh, woohoo, we did this. Second year was a little better because I could relate, okay, January of year one, we did this. But in the retail business, it's very interesting because weather plays a huge part. I mean, if it's a snowstorm or if it's 30 degrees out, it's quiet, right? Because people are at the lake or they're in their house, they're not leaving. Other events in the city, especially for me, I sell a lot of dressy dresses. So SABEX awards are coming up. We had 2 ladies today in to buy dresses for the SABEX
And there's lots of ladies here today
That's
that
right.
should be checking out 252 for SABEX awards.
That's right. So, I mean, we see those, you know, ebbs and flows, I guess. And I don't know if from one year to the next, it's going to even correlate, to be honest with you, because there's so many different things. I've got quite a few clients from other cities, so Regina and PA and North Battleford, that when they come to Saskatoon, they stop. And they spend a lot of money because they're only coming maybe that once every few months, 3 months. So we might have a spectacular week because they were there, but, right? In 6 months, they came on a different day or whatever it happens to be. So it's, obviously I always want to see everything going up. And for us, holiday. I mean, from October 15th to New Year's Eve, that's our big time, because people are buying gifts and they're buying dresses for holiday parties and Christmas presents for themselves.
Well, and husbands are shopping December 23rd,
That's
December
right.
24th.
Yeah.
So are you so far are you looking like this is going as you'd planned? And what does the business plan involve? Is it just one location, short term, or are you thinking expanding?
Well, like I said, men's is something that I'm looking at. It's hard because for one location, if I bring in men's or maternity, we get lots of requests for maternity wear, then I have to get rid of some of what I already have because I don't have space, right? So then you have to kind of decide what's going to do better for you. So that's kind of where we are right now in that. I get phone calls from developers in Regina and different cities saying, you should come and open a store here. But it's hard. I think this early on, I don't want to expand too fast, too quick. And I think a lot, I mean, I'm not saying I'm the reason why we're doing well, but I'm there every day for the majority of the time, and my staff is great, but I'm the one that's there and that cares. So if I have a store in Regina, I have to have someone there that cares as much as I do, and that's a special person to find, right? So it's a possibility. I think in our business plan, we had kind of just did the generic list of possibilities of future growth. But all things I'd look into for sure. I'd love to have another store, but I think I have to make sure that things are going well with this one before we branch out.
Have you invested a lot of money into advertising over the last couple of years? Because you were saying you got people coming in from Regina, Prince Albert. How do they know about you?
Advertising is tricky.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive, majorly expensive. Year one, we kind of did the throw money up in the air and see what grabs. So we did radio and newspaper and Refined Lifestyles magazine and all sorts of things. And we'd ask people when they came in, how'd you hear about us? 9 times out of 10, they either saw us on Facebook or their friend told them about us. So it's okay, why am I spending $5,000 on an advertising campaign over here when no one seems to have seen it? So honestly, Facebook and Instagram are huge for us. I can boost a post for $100 and hit the whole province. But word of mouth. We have Chelsea comes in and buys something and tells her friend, and then her friend comes in, and then her friend comes in, and that's really, I think, being what's really gotten us going. So,
in fairness, we got 2 amazing ladies on our committee, and Chelsea's one of them from Power Auto Body, and Andrea from Sutton Financial, and they always are way better dressed than the guys on the committee. Absolutely. I mean, so come on, there's always hecklers.
Yeah.
Look how good I look. Get out of here. So you do Facebook, you do the Snapbook.
You know what? I don't do Snapchat. I do personal Snapchat because I do a lot of dog face.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anyone wants to see that at the store. But it's something people have been asking me. I could just snap dresses and stuff, but it disappears. So I don't know.
I know nothing of it. We went to a friend's cabin this summer, and they signed me up on Snapchat, and I haven't done one yet because I feel like my first one should be epic. But then it disappears anyway. So I'm why am I thinking so hard about this Snapchat?
I know.
I don't know anything about it. I listened to Humpty Dance back in the 80s. It was fantastic back then.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah.
I try to post as much as I can. I'll probably post 3 or 4 things in a day. Because especially women, they see something they like, they come down.
You should take a picture of us then, because women like this.
I will definitely post. I'll tag you even.
Yeah, you don't want to tag me. Trust me.